A sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against Yahweh. Yahweh hath opened his armory, and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord Yahweh of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. Come against her from the utmost border, open her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. Slay all her bullocks, let them go down to the slaughter. Woe unto them, for their day is come, the time of their visitation. The voice of them that flee and escape out of the land of Babylon, to declare in Zion the vengeance of Yahweh our God, the vengeance of his temple. Call together the archers against Babylon, all ye that bend the bow. Camp against it round about. Let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she hath done, do unto her. For she hath been proud against Yahweh, against the Holy One of Israel. Therefore shall her young men fall in the streets, and all her men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith Yahweh. Behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts. For thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee. And the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up. And I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all round about him. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. Their Redeemer is strong. Yahweh of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon.
Understand where they're taking the department and the joint force. And today we have the unprecedented opportunity and honor to hear directly from the Secretary of War and our Commander-in-Chief. Together, you and I and our civilian leaders have the honor of leading the finest military in the world. And we must seize every opportunity every day to prepare our joint force for the future. I am deeply humbled to serve with each and every one of you. And now it is my distinct honor to introduce our nation's Secretary of War, the Honorable Pete Hegseth.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
Thank you. Please take your seats. Well, Mr. Chairman, the Joint Chiefs, Generals, Admirals, Commanders, Officers, Senior Enlisted, NCOs, Enlisted, and every member of our American military, good morning. Good morning and welcome to the War Department. Because the era of the Department of Defense is over. You see, the motto of my first platoon was those who long for peace must prepare for war. This is, of course, not a new idea. This crowd knows that. The origin dates to the 4th century Rome and has been repeated ever since, including by our first Commander-in-Chief, George Washington, the first leader of the War Department. It captures a simple yet profound truth. To ensure peace, we must prepare for war. From this moment forward, the only mission of the newly restored Department of War is this: warfighting, preparing for war and preparing to win, unrelenting and uncompromising in that pursuit. Not because we want war, no one here wants war, but it's because we love peace. We love peace for our fellow citizens. They deserve peace, and they rightfully expect us to deliver it. Our number one job, of course, is to be strong so that we can prevent war in the first place. The president talks about it all the time. It's called peace through strength. And as history teaches us, the only people who actually deserve peace are those who are willing to wage war to defend it. That's why pacifism is so naive and dangerous. It ignores human nature and it ignores human history. Either you protect your people and your sovereignty, or you will be subservient to something or someone. It's a truth as old as time. And since waging war is so costly in blood and treasure, we owe our republic a military that will win any war we choose, or any war that is thrust upon us. Should our enemies choose foolishly to challenge us, they will be crushed by the violence, precision, and ferocity of the War Department. In other words, to our enemies, F-A-F-O.
Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahweh Shai, Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahweh Shai, Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahweh Shai, Barakati Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Ba Racha HaKodash, Kol Thapa Arath, Hawad Wahaloyim Rabwatam Ya'itla, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Ba Racha HaKodash. And what I just said in the Lashwan Kodash being the ancient Paleo-Hebrew, or in other words, the true biblical Hebrew for holy tongue or language. And what I just said is, all glory, honor, and praises abundantly and continuously to our power, Yahweh, the true name of our Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly and incorrectly calls God, in the name of His only begotten Son, our Savior, our Messiah, our Deliverer, Yahweh Shai, HaMashiach, who the world ignorantly and incorrectly calls Jesus Christ, in, or in other words, through the Holy Spirit. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and respect to the brothers teaching and pushing this truth out the four corners of the earth, to the hopeful elect, the 144,000 and the 1/3, as well as the rest of the elect scattered abroad amongst the heathen nations to the four corners of the earth, east, north, south, and west. To you I say, Shalom. This is your brother Ra'aib Tazadakwa coming back at you again, all through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, with another lesson. Yahweh Ratazah, Yahweh willing, is going to be edifying and encouraging to you Achim, brothers, and any Achwaf, sisters that may be listening and or watching. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give the fair use disclaimer. All right. Fair use is allowed under the U.S. law for educational, commentary, criticism purposes, and the like. And that's, of course, what we're using this clip for. I'm not concerned about the brother here. I believe this brother is at the part of the main camp in New York City or New York. But don't quote me on that. I'm not concerned about him having any issue. But you know how YouTube gets down. So, not profiting from this clip in any way, shape, fashion, or form. Giving credit to the originator of the material right now, Pete Hegseth, just announced they're preparing for a new era of war against, quote, all enemies, end quote. It's on, right? And the brother's page is GMS Watchman. I encourage you to subscribe. The brother puts out good videos, as most brothers do. And so fair use notice is given, fair use is allowed, fair use notice is given. All right. And I am going to back this up to the beginning, actually specifically to the point where the secretary of the newly minted War Department Not that it was newly created, but they just changed the Department of Defense to the Department of War, which is a greatly lagging name change. Because I remember doing a lesson a few years back, some years now, whether it was 4 or 5 or whatever years it was, and I was mocking the Department of Defense, and I was pointing out that their motto is the best defense is a good offense. In other words, it's some defense they're playing because they're always on offense. And I can't remember which NBA team back when I was watching the NBA. I haven't been watching the NBA for years now. I'm pretty much detached from the sports. No time, and it was all falling flat. All right, and it was all falling flat. It lost its luster, and then I don't have any time to even try to develop any interest in it anymore. The only sport that I still kind of peek at is boxing from time to time, because boxing's kind of like in my blood, as they say, right? But really, I don't even keep up with that too much either. But it was one of those NBA teams back when I was watching it that they were like that as well. They didn't really play defense too much. It might have been. I don't think it was, but I can't remember which team it was. But they were all about the offense. They were so good on offense that their lackluster defense didn't really make too much of a difference because they were just too busy scoring the ball all the time, right? So it didn't really matter if their opponent scored a lot of points on them as well, because they would just score more points than their opponent did, And then I remember, I think it was the Celtics though. I think it was the Celtics that had a very, very defensively oriented team. And so, yeah, they were all about defense first, right? And a lot of their games were low scoring games, and they wouldn't score a lot of points, but they would make sure that their opponent scored even fewer points. Whereas the other team would, they would give up a lot of points, but they would make sure they outscored their opponent, right? So it's kind of like which way you want to go with it, right? But the best offense, the best defense is a good offense. That was their motto, right? Or the best offense is a good defense, whatever. So that's been America, Babylon the Great's military motto for a long time. Okay, they've been calling it the Department of Defense, but it's been all about offense for a very, very, very long time. All right. I don't think it was necessarily that way in the beginning, but that's what it's been for a long time. All right. And so I'm probably going to pick it up here because I'm going to give some commentary and get some precepts on what he was saying. But before we get into that, I want to give a rundown, because this is actually part 4 of a short lesson series, which there might be one more part. We'll see. Possible that it could be even more than one more part, but we'll just see through the Spirit. But I want to give a rundown of the lesson series, and Salakia for the flipping, no other way to do it. And you see, it's this series right here, relatively short, which is a continuation of this live altar teaching you see here, because I was interrupted by that devil you see there on the thumbnail, right? And so I was not able to complete what I was going to go into at the end of the camp. And as a result, instead of covering it in like 5 to 10 minutes, which is what I was going to do, I'm now just doing this short lesson series, and it's turning into 5, 6, or 7 hours of edification. As it is written in the scriptures, you can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. And so everything you do to interfere with the truth and impede the truth and slow down the truth and interrupt the truth, it always backfires. It always backfires rather, and the truth just goes out more, better, stronger, all of that, further, all of that. Okay, you can't stop this truth. This truth is a juggernaut. Okay, this truth is a juggernaut. Now, the juggernaut was very powerful. If you're familiar with comics and all that, juggernaut's very powerful. He has like strength on the level of the Hulk and things like that. But his big thing was when he gets going, you can't stop him. And no matter how powerful you are, and he's pretty powerful in his own right, but no matter how powerful you are and how much you put in front of him, you can't stop him. That's just truth. Matter of fact, anything you do to stop this truth, it actually forces. You can do nothing against the truth but for it. Everything you do against the truth actually propels the truth even further. And so you got parts 1, 2, and 3 here, and tonight is part 4. In part 1, we went over 2nd Ezra 14, where in 2nd Ezra the 14th chapter, Ezra was having a conversation with the Most High through the archangel Uriel, and our Father Yahweh explained to Ezra through the archangel Uriel, that this world, meaning this age, this period of time, this kingdom, really, I don't want to call it. It's let's put this title on it: the pre-kingdom of heaven age, right? All right, which includes creation, the creation week, okay, which is 7,000 years. Each day was 1,000 years, and it wasn't literal 24-hour days. And we covered that. We touched on it in this live altar teaching here, but we touched on it again here in this part 1. So if you want more, I'm just going to give you a quick synopsis, because that's all this is a review of the lesson series itself. If you need more on it, then check out part 1. Click on part 1, or whatever the applicable part is that you would like more edification on, right? But each day in the creation account is 1,000-year period pursuant to the 90th Psalm, as well as 2 Peter 3 and 8. A day with the Lord is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as one day. The sun and the moon and the stars weren't even created until the 4th day. So tell me how you're going to have literal 24-hour days with no sun, no moon, no stars. Okay, because they weren't even around until the 4th day. They were created on the 4th day. Go read it. Okay, so no, they were not literal 24-hour days. They were 7,000-year period. So that 12 parts, which is actually 12 days, which is actually 12,000 years, and includes the creation week, which is 7,000 years, and then it's been 5,000 years since that up until now. And when this information was given to Ezra, the prophet Ezra, it was actually 9,500 years into that timetable. And that's why he was told that there's 2.5 parts, 2.5 days, 2,500 years that remain. And, well, we're there. It's over. Okay? That's why everything that's going on in the world is going on, and it's not slowing down. It's accelerating. No matter how much they talk about, oh, well, the economy is going to turn around. We're going to do this, that, and another. Everything keeps getting worse. Okay? Supposedly the pandemic is over and behind, but you hear them keep talking about how another one's coming worse. You hear them talking about cyber attacks going to make the pandemic look like a walk in the park. You hear them talking about all these. Every time you turn around, there's a new mysterious, whether it's an oldie but goodie plague that's coming back and kind of making some noise in pockets, or whether it's some new unheard of pestilence, which is making noise in various places and pockets. Okay. And I can just keep going on with all the things that are going on in the world. Oh, for example, they keep talking about peace. But the more they talk about peace and the more they do to bring about peace, the more all these various wars escalate. Because this is the end. Nothing's going to slow down. Everything is going to continue to intensify, and more rapidly at that. This is not a joke. You see the thumbnail. Major biblical end time prophecies are being fulfilled right now. This is not a joke. This is not for entertainment. This is not clickbait. All right. You can get it or not, or you can understand the times and ask that very important question: what must I do to be saved? And don't bother if you're a natural born heathen, because you're not part of the salvation discussion. Only those that are Israelites by lineage, by heritage, by bloodline, by birth. Okay. And so you can ask that question: what must I do to be saved? And if you be of the elect, Lord willing, Yahweh Razah, you can get deliverance and salvation if you bring forth fruits meet for repentance, which you will do if you have ears to hear and eyes to see, which means you have been given the gift of faith, because faith always produces righteous works. Okay, and works is what Yahweh is our Father Yahweh and Yahweh Shai are both looking for, because it proves that the faith is real. It's the proof of your faith, and those works will be tried to make sure that they're righteous works born of faith, and not wood, stubble, and hay, born of any vainglory. Okay, your works will be tried. because the works validate and prove. Works with faith rather without works is dead. So you need the works to prove that your faith is real. It is about the faith, but you need the works because the works prove that your faith is real. Yahweh Shah's coming back and his reward is with him to give every man according to his works. You need faith and works. If you have works but no faith, boo, you fail. No need to even test those. No need to even. I mean, well, you're gonna test somebody, But I'm just saying that ain't gonna cut it. If you might do some things that appear like gold, like righteous works, but it's fool's gold. It's born out of vainglory. It's born out of because you're doing it because of filthy lucre. You're doing it to get women. You're doing it to get a clout. You're doing it for whatever reason, to get yourself out of a tight spot, to impress people, whatever it is. It isn't born out of faith. So those works aren't going to do anything but get you destroyed. Okay? Only righteous works born out of faith are going to be rewarded. And that those righteous works prove that you have the faith, because you're only going to produce those righteous works if you have faith. So that's your proof. That's your validation ticket. Okay? So, and you will be rewarded for it. But this is not a joke. Or are you going to be in the mindset of Lot's sons-in-law? Because see, Lot's sons-in-law, they were, when Lot was trying to warn them, they were like, oh, Lot tripping. Lot joking. Lot's had too much to drink. Okay, no matter how adamant Lot got to try to explain to them that they needed to get their asses up and get a move on to get out of there before the place was destroyed with fire and brimstone, no matter, there was nothing he could do, because the more adamant he got to try to make them understand how serious it was, the more they thought he was tripping. Right? And then finally the angels just grabbed Lot and his daughters and got him out of there. Right? Because Lot was taking his time. I mean, not he was taking his time, he was trying to do stuff, right? He was lingering, he was delaying. But the point is, are you going to be in that same mindset? This is not a joke. What's this, man? Yeah. Man, I got something else to go watch. Right? Okay, we're trying, man. We're trying the best we can. Just like Lot was trying the best he could. Right? But no matter what he did, it wasn't going to get through to him. They was going to find a way to see it in some way that was not appropriate, not convenient. Is that you? Okay, so we got into that whole timeline, that whole breakdown in part 1. Part 2, we got into, what was it? Part 2, we got into the a very, very second. This prophecy is so critical and so important that it is second only to the only other prophecy that it's second to is the return of our Lord Yahweh Shah Mashiach. Outside of that, this prophecy here is the key critical prophecy, which is the radio frequency ID micro C to the hip, which is the ark of the east. Put an M on that ark and a B on the east. The Revelation 13 batch verses 16 through 18. The beast rice. Okay? That's what we went into here. Because over in the United Kingdom, they have begun to make digital IDs mandatory in order to work. No digital ID, no work. They've already begun. All right? Next thing you know, it's going to spread to the whole population over there. And it's going to spread to all these nations. That's the reason why Trump, when he was speaking to all of the world at the United Nations General Assembly, just like last week or the week before, he kept talking about to the whole world how terrible of a problem illegal immigration is, and how all the countries of the world are going to hell because of illegal immigration. And I was wondering, well, why is he making such a big deal out of illegal immigration? Because I watched this whole speech. And the reason why is because they're going to use that as leverage to get all these nations to also make digital IDs mandatory, because that's a key critical step before you implement the Ark of the East, the MOT to the capital B, the beast rice. Because those digital IDs will be graphoed onto the beast rice, along with your digital wallet, your digital keys, your central bank digital currencies, your digital records of various kinds, like passport, um, 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 financial records, probably, criminal records, just all kinds of records, every graphote on there. If you don't know what graphote is, then check out part 2. I go into it. Okay, check out part 2. All right. So then in part 3, these are major biblical end time prophecies why did I say? Because I'm not going into all the biblical end time prophecies. I'm not even going into all the major ones. I'm just scratching the surface of the surface of the surface. There's I don't want, all the end time biblical prophecies are being fulfilled. Every single last one of them. That's not already fulfilled. Okay. The ones that remain, they're all being fulfilled right now. And these are some major end time biblical prophetic events. Okay. And if I was to try to go into all of them, I couldn't do it. It's just so much going on, which is telling you this is the end. And not only is this the end, it's about to be a wrap. It's about to be over. Okay? And the sirens that you hear are right on time. Everything is spiritual. Yahweh Bahashim Hawashai. Let me show you that. I usually quote it, but I'm going to get it this time because those sirens are right on time. For the Most High speaketh once, yea, twice, yet man perceiveth it not. Yeah, the Most High speaks. Remember, he's in that still, small, quiet voice. Okay? He isn't in the earthquake. He isn't in I can't remember everything that happened, but it was like an earthquake and there was like a fire or something like that and a mighty wind or something like that. But Yahweh wasn't in the wind. He was in the small, still voice. And you miss it. And he even said it twice, but you missed it. For the Most High speaketh once, yea, twice, yet man perceiveth it not. Right? So, part 3, we got into Benjamin Netanyahu being at the United Nations General Assembly, and we kind of got 2 here. We got some uproars and seditions, which is end time biblical prophecies as well. We even mentioned the earthquakes too, because it was right there in the precept, but we didn't really focus on that. Because like I told you, man, so much going on. This is scratching the surface of the surface of the surface, right? And at the UN General Assembly, Benjamin Netanyahu told the whole world that they aren't going to stop. They're going all the way. Right. And what's going to happen when they go all the way? Okay? The complete and total destruction of all the kingdoms of all the heathen. Okay? And a major contributor to that destruction is going to be all-out thermonuclear war. All-out thermonuclear war, which is going to lead to the complete, you heard the precept, right? Okay, utterly destroyed with fire, a fire in her cities. Okay, I understand it doesn't quite let on. It doesn't quite let on how bad it's going to be. But when it says a fire in her cities, I will set a fire in her cities. It's talking about every square inch, literally, of this wicked nation, America, Babylon the Great. Every square inch. You don't hear me. You're not hearing me, man. Listen. If you was here, I would. Listen, man. Every square inch. That means there will be no place at all left unscorched by thermonuclear fire. Same thing over there in the land of Israel. There is a difference, though. The land of Israel is going to be swept and purged with the beast of destruction, Isaiah 14. But we're going to be put back in that land. That's biblical prophecy. That's our land. So it's going to be cleansed. Cleanse it. I remember his name, Ronan. Ronan from the first Guardians of the Galaxy. That was what he said. He was like, cleanse it. Yeah, that land's going to be cleansed so that we can be put back in it, righteous and holy, right? And here in America, Babylon the Great, it's never going to be inhabited again. Once the fire eventually goes out, due to lack of fuel, it's going to be a perpetual desert for all eternity. Okay, it's going to replace Sodom and Gomorrah as the new ensample unto unrighteousness, or example unto unrighteousness. Okay, more fitting and more appropriate for eternity. Okay, so yeah, so kind of lost my train of thought. I'm trying to get it back. Bear with me a second. So anyway, let me just pick back up with the recap on this part 3 so we can get into the new material tonight. But yeah, it has, so yeah, he was saying, that's what it was. He was saying that they're not going to stop. But not only that, when he got up to speak, showing how greatly despised the Israelis are, but not just the Israelis, America is also with them. And both the Americans, okay, they'll get the Israelis, not the government, but, the scholars over there that are Israelis and the Orthodox booze over there, they'll get into a shouting match with the leaders of pagan Christianity over here in America, Babylon the Great. And the booze over there will be pointing over here to the pagan Christians over here, saying that they're Esau, Edom. They call the West Esau, Edom. America, Babylon the Great, and the West they call Esau, Edom. And then the pagan Christians over here will point the finger back at them and say, no, we ain't Esau, Edom, you Esau, Edom. So they'll be calling the Israelis Esau, Edom. Who's right? They're both right. They're both Esau, Edom. They're brothers. Okay. The nation of Esau, Edom is all around the world today, but predominantly, they are most directly running America, Babylon the Great, the land of Gog and Magog, which is modern day Russia. All right. The land of Israel, the Israelis over there, they Edom too. The land of Europe, which really is Western Asia or Asia Minor. They're running that land, and they're also running the land of Australia. I'm leaving out a couple, but those are the major ones that they run, and that's a lot. That's a hell of a lot. Okay, Canada too. Like I said, I might be leaving out, but I don't mean to leave out such a large one as Canada. Canada too, right? And they have the dew of heaven, the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above. Because that's their blessing right now. The blessing's just about up, but they still got it for a few nano, pico, microseconds, it ain't quite over yet. See? So, and just to show how despised they are, like 2/3 to 3/4 of the nations, the delegates, each nation has delegates there, the United Nations General Assembly, like 2/3 to 3/4 of them got up and walked out on Benjamin Netanyahu. And you should have saw the look on his face. I mean, it basically damn near cleared the auditorium. Damn near. And the only ones clapping was the Israeli delegation. In other words, they were clapping for their own leader. Okay, nobody else was clapping. I think I saw like 2 other dudes clapping. That was it, just 2. Everybody else that sat there, I mean, the press was clapping, but nobody's paying attention to the press. Everybody else that was sitting there from these other delegations, from these other countries, the ones that stayed, they weren't clapping. Right? So this is what's going on, man. This is what's going on. They're going all the way. They're hated and despised. And they're going to drag America, Babylon the Great right with them. And when they drag America, Babylon the Great with them, it's going to lead to their destruction and their desolation. But when they drag America, Russia's going to jump in, and everybody's going to jump in. Royal Rumble, the third World War, which has already begun. Okay, that's where it's going. That's where it's going to escalate to, and that's also how it's going to end. All out thermonuclear war. That was part 3. Tonight, part 4. Let's let the Secretary of War tell you how much they love peace. Okay, and when you hear him speak about how much he loves peace, and they don't want war, as they change the name from the Department of Defense to the Department of War, but they don't want war. They love peace, right? Keep this precept right here in mind. St. John 8:44, or is it 43? 44, I believe. Yes. Now he was speaking, Yahweh was speaking to wicked Israelites, right? He was telling these wicked Israelites that they are of their father, literally flesh and blood father, their lineage. No. This is spiritual. Ye are of your father. They were of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, literally. So he's not talking literal. Ye are of your father, the devil. Who's this devil he's talking about? Spiritual demon Satan? Spiritual demon Satan, your daddy? That's not what he's talking about here. Ye are of your father, the devil. And in case you didn't know it, people still don't know this. Every time you see devil in the scriptures, it isn't always talking about a spiritual being. And I'm just going to show you that real quick. I'm going to make this quick because you see diabolos in the Greek. And yes, it could be talking about a spiritual being or the spiritual demon Satan or demons or something like that. But it literally means prone to slander, slanderous, accusing falsely. Okay, so someone accuses you falsely or slanders you, you can very appropriately call them a devil. And people do, not that often, but they do talk like that. You're a devil, meaning you deceive them or you slandered them or you accuse them falsely. But here's the one I want to show you. It says, metaphorically applied to a man who by opposing the cause of the Most High may be said to act the part of the devil or to side with him. Metaphorically applied to a man, a flesh and blood man. Hey, look, sometimes when you see this word devil, diabolos in the Greek, it's not talking about a spiritual being. It's talking about a flesh and blood man. That is the case here. But this definition needs a little work. It gets you started down the right path. I'm going to give it to you improved. I'm going to give it to you more perfect. Literally applied to a man who by opposing the cause of the Most High in righteousness, because overall he's not opposing the will of the Most High. Overall, he's doing exactly what he was created to do. And who created him? Well, the Most High. Okay? Not directly, but the Most High gets the credit because it was according to his plan and at his command that everything was created. The Most High only created one thing or entity or being himself. That's Yahushua. He's the beginning of the creation. Revelation 3 and 14. Revelation 3 and 14. Okay, he created Yahushua and told Yahushua the whole plan. Yahushua was in agreement. And then he gave Yahushua, he created Yahushua with the power to do this. And he gave Yahushua the command and the instructions on how to carry out the command to create everything. First thing Yahushua had to do was create his brethren, which is the Alahayim, which is the 144,000, which is the prophets. The prophets. Okay? The men that walk on the face of the earth that fulfill the office of prophets of the Most High, that's the Alahayim. Okay? All right? And those are the spirits that were with Yahushua in the beginning, helping him make everything in accordance with the instruction of the Father. Now, when Yahushua made the Alahayim, they were made with the power to help him do that job. Okay? The Alahayim were made with the power to help Yahushua finish creating everything in accordance with the Father's command and instructions, and Yahushua was in charge. He's the top son of God. Okay? That's what it means that he's the only begotten son of God, not the only son. Our Father Yahweh has many innumerable, countless sons and different classes and categories of sons, and even subclasses and subcategories of sons, but only one begotten son, Yahushua, in a class and category all by himself. Right? That's why the Greek word, the Hebrew word in Genesis, the first chapter, is in the beginning, the Alahayim, which is Yahushua and the angels, the 144,000, the prophets. Again, the prophets. Okay? All right? The spirit that was in the prophet Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Isaiah, Obadiah, Micah, Malachi, Joel, Amos, Hosea, all these prophets, those spirits, those are spirits that are part of the 144,000. All the 144,000, those spirits were born here on this earth as prophets. Okay? That's the prophets. The 144,000 is the prophets, and they are the Alahayim. Okay? And those are the spirits that were in the beginning helping Yahushua make everything in accordance with the instruction and command of the Father. That's why the word is Alahayim. First thing it tells you when you look it up in the blue letter or the concordance is that it's plural. It's not talking about the Most High. People don't know anything. All right, I'm moving on. See, so here we go. Literally applied to a man who by opposing the cause of the Most High in righteousness, okay, overall he's doing what he was created to do, okay, may be said to act the part of the devil because he is the devil. All right. And not or to side with the spiritual demon Satan, because the spiritual demon Satan is his God or power source. That's a more perfect definition. But you already see right there. Sometimes it's talking about a man. That's the case here. Okay. So this devil is a flesh and blood man. And the next question is, well, who? Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father, the devil, ye will do. Flesh and blood man, right? Yes, that's correct. He, the devil, flesh and blood man here, was a murderer from the beginning. Spiritual demon Satan didn't murder anybody. Okay? What's it say? He was a murderer from the beginning. What's this talking about? What beginning? Well, when you go to Genesis 1:1, what does it say, man? In the beginning. Yeah, that beginning. Goodness gracious. This is not hard. Okay? Just read a few chapters. It don't take you long. Go to the beginning, in the beginning, and read just a few chapters, and you'll get to the first murder, man. All right? And when you get to the first murder, in the beginning, you get to the first murder, who did that? Cain. I know you're like, okay, no, yes, that's who the devil is. Okay, and abode not in the truth. Now, what happened when Cain got caught? All right, he got caught and he was judged. All right, and then when he got judged, what happened? He started crying because his judgment was more than he could bear. Right, so he started crying, and he was concerned about his own hide. Here it is. He just slew his brother for no other reason than his brother was righteous and doing right, and he was wicked and doing wrong. That was the only reason, right? A hell of a reason to kill your brother, right? Because he doing right and you not, so you kill him, right? And then when he gets called out for it and gets some chastisement and some judgment for it, he's concerned about his own skin. Well, the Most High gives him the protection that he asked for, all right? And how does he do that? He puts a distinguishing mark on him. What's that distinguishing mark? He strips him of his melanin. All nations on the planet were created with melanin in their skin. All nations were different shades of brown. And all nations are indeed today still different shades of brown. Except one. Right. And that goes back to the garden. Because that's how you would know. That's how you would, not to the garden, to Genesis, the 4th chapter, because that's how you would know the descendants of Cain. They look different than every other nation on the planet. That's how you would know, right? All nations are different shades of brown, including them at first, but the Most High made them look different. And he made them the color of sin. Isaiah 1:18. There's a lot I'm going into, right? But I'm just speaking as the Spirit gives me utterance. And then when he got the protection, so now nobody's going to slay Cain and be like, oh, shoot, I didn't know that was Cain, right? Because everybody's going to know, because Cain and his descendants look different. They have pale flesh. Their blood shows forth through their skin. They look red. That's why later on the name of their nation would be Adawam, which literally means red. How do you say Adawam in Hebrew? How do you say Adawam in Hebrew? How do you say red in Hebrew? Adawam, which is Edom. That means red. And that's the color the Most High made them. Again, the color of sin. Isaiah 1:18. Also ties to Revelation 6:4, which through the Spirit we may touch on later. Okay? So, once he got the protection, what did Cain do? He bounced. In other words, he got the hell out of Dodge. He left. He didn't care for anything else. He didn't care to make it right. He didn't care to seek repentance. He didn't care to stay in the presence of Yahweh and see what he could do to right his wrongs or try to get. He didn't give a damn about any of that. He just left. The scripture specifically says, and Cain departed from the presence of Yahweh. He left the presence of our Father Yahweh. Well, wait a minute. What's it say here? And abode not in the truth. Yeah, that's exactly what Cain did. He was born into the truth as a son of Adam. He was given the ways of righteousness. But then he slew his brother. And when he got in trouble for it, he cried. He got some protection. And once he got his protection, woo, I'm out of here. He left. He abode not in the truth. This is Cain. Because there is no truth in him. Now you say, well, wait a minute. Didn't Cain and all his descendants die in the flood? Yes. But reincarnation is biblical. Matthew 11, 13, 14, and 15. Go read it. Okay, Matthew 11, 13, 14, and 15. Go read it. Reincarnation is biblical. He came back again in the reincarnation as Esau. And Esau is the forefather of the Edomites, which are ruling the world today. Okay? All right. That's why Esau came out red all over like a hairy garment. The Most High made that mark stick. Just because they all got wiped out and they had to come back again in the reincarnation, that doesn't mean that mark's over with. No, that mark's stuck. And that's why he came out looking like that. That's why. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he's a liar and the father of it. So keep that in mind. See, this man right here, Pete Hegseth, he's a devil. He's an Edomite. So when he's speaking, what it says here, let me see here. I'm looking for something here. Because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh, this is what I'm looking for. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. For he is a liar and the father of it. So keep that in mind as this liar, this devil speaks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sure. Thank you. Please take your seats.
And just to point out a couple of things here. Joel 3, I almost opened up with Joel 3 instead of the Jeremiah 51. Prepare war. This is the time we're in. And that right there is the precept that was pulling me to that chapter. And I almost started with that. Joel 3 and 9. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. And there's a hell of a lot more in that verse. I mean, not that verse, in that chapter. Okay, because I was going to get like 2/3 of it. But, the Spirit directed me over to the Jeremiah 51 and said, and you see over there on the right, previously on GMS Watchman, U.S. Defense Secretary orders urgent meeting of generals. They're preparing for Armageddon. Armageddon. All right. In other words, the Third World War, which has already begun. They're already fighting it. They're just not fighting it openly. They're preparing to fight it openly. Right? They just completed that meeting. Okay? Which is unprecedented. From what I understand, last time something like that happened, it was Adolf Hitler that called it. From what I understand. Yeah, I haven't verified that, but that's what I heard. All right. Let me let him speak.
Well, Mr. Chairman, the Joint Chiefs, Generals, Admirals, Commanders, Officers, Senior Enlisted, NCOs, Enlisted, and every member of our American military, good morning. Good morning, and welcome to the War Department.
Yeah, that tells you everything you need to. This man right here is he is the violent and bloody man. Not just him, I'm talking about him, his whole nation. These Edomites, they are the violent and bloody man. Okay? They are the rider on the red horse. And I'm going to show that to you now. And there went out another horse that was red. What is the name of their nation? Adawam. What does Adawam mean? Red. Oh, what a coincidence. Okay? I don't believe in coincidences, ma'am. Right, good. Okay, it's not a coincidence. And power was given to him, who? The rider on the red horse. What color is that horse again? Red. Okay, what was given to him? Power to do what? That sat there on to take peace from the earth. Have you ever wondered why there's always wars going on? Of varying degrees, some low level, some mid level, some more major. Have you ever wondered why there cannot be peace? Real peace, I mean. Okay? All right? Have you ever wondered why, out of all the years that America, Babylon the Great, this peace-loving nation, we don't want war. We don't want war, but we're going to change it from defense to war. But we don't want war. We love peace. We don't want war. We want peace. Right? Have you ever wondered why this peace-loving nation has been at war for about 95% of its existence? About. Okay? I think it's technically like 93 or 4%, something like that. But for like 93 or 4 or 5 or whatever it turns out to be, something like that, percent of its time in existence, it's been at war. Okay? But we love peace. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him, the Edomites, that sat there on the red man, to take peace from the earth. And there's always other wars and fightings and skirmishes and special military operations going on around the planet. and that they should kill one another. And they even when they not directly fighting, they got their proxies fighting. They got North Korea fighting South Korea. They got China fighting Taiwan. They got this African Hamitic nation fighting that African Hamitic. This is what they do. That they should kill one another. That's what that means. And there was given unto him a what? What's this? A great sword. It was given unto him a great sword. Okay. Red, right? Yeah, right. Red. All over. Like a hairy garment. Let me show you. Because he had no melanin in his skin. So you could see his blood through his skin. And the first, Esau, came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. It tells you in Genesis 36:8 that thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. Esau in the Hebrew, Ishashwa, means wasted away is he, because it looks like he wouldn't finish cooking. You got to put him back in there. He ain't brown yet. Well, you can put him back in there, I suppose, but he ain't ever going to get brown. Okay? The Most High stripped him of his melanin to make this man, the man of sin, the color of sin. This is matching, man. It's easy. Make the man of sin the color of sin. Color of sin, red. Okay? He ain't ever. And then the name of his nation is Adawam, which literally means red. Okay? Go over to Genesis 27. Okay? Let's look and see what blessing our great forefather Isaac gave him. Okay? Because he was crying. I'm not going to get the whole thing. You know, we're running up on an hour. Let's get straight to the point. After Esau begged for a blessing, there was no blessing. Our great forefather Isaac scraped something up together. Is that a blessing? No, it's not really a blessing, but let me scrape a little bit more. I think I can barely call this a blessing. All right, let me give it to him quick. So you can get a feeling for it, right? Because if it was truly a blessing, he would have already given it to Jacob, because he already told Esau he gave Jacob everything. But Esau kept crying so much, and this was all set up in the spirit. This was all the plan of our father Yahweh Shemashah. He kept crying so much that Isaac scraped something together to give him that you could call a blessing, but it wasn't a blessing. Not really, but you can call it a blessing. So he gave it to Esau. And this was all set up in the spirit, because what he did give Esau was for the fulfillment of biblical prophecy, so that things would go the way that our father Yahweh Shemashah has ordained for it to go. So this is all set up in the spirit. This is all our father's plan. And Isaac said, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, the best places on the planet, which he has right now, and of the dew of heaven from above. He's in rulership. And what's this say? And by thy sword shalt thou live. This man lives by his military might. That's the sword, his military might. That's how he lives. And what did Yahweh Shai say? Whosoever shall live by the sword shall die by the sword. Okay? Yahweh Shai was not just saying that to sound cool. Okay? He was saying that's a prophecy about how this man's going to go down when he said that to Peter. Okay? And a warning to Peter, we're not blessed with the sword. I mean, we can do our thing. We put our mind to it and practice and all that, but that's not our blessing. Okay? And that's why a lot of the times, especially with the lack of practice, you see our people going around handling, but the sword really gets into all manner of weaponry in the military might, right? But focusing down on the literal sword, which today the modern day sword would be the gun, right? They be looking all inept and goofy when they handle it, right? Because that's not our blessing. And then you got little Susie, little 8-year-old Susie. She picks up one of them and she's like, pow, 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 ping, 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 ping. She's looking like she stepped off the pages of not the pages. She's looking like she stepped off the screen of a movie. Right? Little Susie, little 9-year-old Becky, right? But like ping, 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 ping. It's like, damn, can she not miss? Right? we get up, we pick it up, we like whiffing. Because that's not our blessing. It's Esau's blessing. And he lives by it. And by thy sword shalt thou live. That's why it says in Revelation 6:4, and there was given unto him a great sword. This is the great sword. And shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Right, and they did that, but now they're getting ready to go back into hardcore bondage again, and this time to the max, and they ain't getting out of this one. The only way they're going to be getting out of this one is exterminate to the nation. Okay, and that's Obadiah 1 and 18. It's only one chapter. And Isaiah 14, 21 through 23. You can put with that Romans the 9th chapter. The vessels of wrath fitted to, created for destruction, destined for destruction. All right. So here you go, man. All right, let's get back in there. Let's let them talk.
Good morning and welcome to the War Department.
His great sword.
Because the era
That's a great
of
sword.
the Department of Defense is over.
Right.
You see, the motto of my first platoon was those who long for peace must prepare for war. This is, of course, not a new...
You have to understand his definition of peace. His definition of peace is nobody's speaking against me. Nobody's opposing me. All right, we at peace. Okay? I'm dominating and subjugating everyone, and nobody is speaking against me. Nobody's disagreeing with me. That's his peace. Okay.
idea. This crowd knows that. The origin dates to the 4th century Rome and has been repeated ever since, including by our first commander-in-chief, George Washington, the first leader of the War Department. It captures a simple yet profound truth. To ensure peace, we must prepare for war. From this moment forward, the only mission of the newly restored Department of War is this: war fighting, preparing for war and preparing to win.
Swinging that sword.
Unrelenting and uncompromising in that pursuit.
Unrelenting and uncompromising. He lives by his military might, which is his sword. That's his blessing. Okay? Deception is his nature. But that's not being so effective these days. So, got to bring that sword out all the way. Because he never puts his sword away. But if he wants to be seen as a good guy, he wants to be seen as the knight in shining armor, standing on a hill with one leg up in the air, chest sticking out, square chin, looking to the horizon. He wants to be seen as the victorious hero, right? So he prefers to lead with his deception and kind of swing the sword behind that, cloaked with the deception. But the deception is not working so much these days. They're running naked. So might as well bring the sword all the way out and start swinging it. Okay? And that's what he's doing. That's what they're doing.
Not because we want war. No one here wants war.
See, for he is a liar and the father of lies. Okay? That's why I read you that, man. He just lied through his teeth.
But it's because we love peace.
I'm going to punch you in your face, not because I want to punch you in your face. It's just because your face just keeps running into my fist. Come on, man. Right? You're not gullible to believe this, are you? Okay? Please.
Preparing for war and preparing to win. Unrelenting and uncompromising in that pursuit.
But we want peace, though.
Not because we want war. No one here wants war.
Liar!
But it's because we love peace. We love peace for our fellow citizens.
Right. Their definition of peace is you don't speak against them at all. You don't disagree with them at all. That's their definition of peace.
Deserve peace, and they rightfully expect us to deliver it.
Oh yeah, and I forgot. And you get under their boot. You get under their boot. Don't disagree. Don't speak against them. Under their boot, subservient, and allow them to rape, rob, and pillage you. Allow them to rape, rob, and pillage you with a smile on your face. We're at peace. That's their definition of peace.
Our number one job, of course, is to be strong so that we can prevent war in the first place. The president talks about it all the time. It's called peace through strength. And as history teaches us, the only people who actually deserve peace are those who are willing to wage war to defend it. That's why pacifism is so naive and dangerous. It ignores human nature and it ignores human history. Either you protect your people and your sovereignty, or you will be subservient to something or someone. It's a truth as old as time. And since waging war is so costly in blood and treasure, we owe our republic a military that will win any war we choose.
Any war we what? We don't, but you don't want war. So you're not going to choose any wars. Right? Gotcha. Get him. You gotta have some fun, man. Get him.
Or someone. It's a truth as old as time. And since waging war is so costly in blood and treasure, we owe our republic a military that will win any war we choose, or any war that is thrust upon us.
Right. See, that last phrase, or any war that is thrust upon us, removes all doubt. Okay? Any war, because a war could be thrust upon them. Well, you're not choosing that. You got no choice. Or a war that they choose. But wait a minute. You don't want war. So if you don't want war, that's an optional war, which means the only way you would choose it is you're the aggressor. See? Liar! They're liars, man.
Should our enemies choose foolishly to challenge us, they will be crushed by the violence.
And what he means by challenge is you don't allow them to rape, rob, and pillage you. You're not allowing us to rape, rob, and pillage you? You're challenging us. I declare war on you. You know, I'm having fun with it, right? Because they don't really declare war like that too much. It depends. It depends. If you're a near peer adversary, then they don't. But if they just going to smash you, then they do. Right? Right? But that's what they mean. Okay? You know, you challenging us, that means you standing up for yourself. Okay? You just trying to defend yourself. You trying to defend you and yours. You trying to keep you and your loved ones and your home from being raped, robbed, and pillaged by these devils, and they wage war on you because you just defending yourself. For real, man. This is how this. Hey, look, we know our brother's mindset. Okay? We know him. This is our brother. We were in the womb with him. We know him. We just had to wake up to who he is. But once we wake up to who he is, who better to know the goddamn devil than his brother? All right? We were in the womb with this devil for 9.5, 10 months, whatever it turned out to be. We know him. We know him like no other nation. Okay? Okay, he's as different from us as night and day, but we know him like no other nation. This is our irreparably estranged, evil, wicked twin brother. Okay? We know how this. We are not ignorant of Satan's devices.
Violence, precision that will win any war we choose, or any war that is thrust upon us. Should our enemies choose foolishly to challenge us, they will be crushed.
We love peace.
By the violence, precision, and ferocity of the War Department.
We don't want war.
In other words, to our enemies, F-A-F-O.
We love peace. F-A-F-O, right? Hey, but see, that's what they're going to do. That's what they're doing. They're F-A-F-O, and they're faithfulling. Okay? They're faithfulling. They're the ones faithfulling. Let's go back to that Jeremiah, because that's what they get. That's what they're doing, man. That's what the Most High said here. Okay? I'm not going to get this whole thing, man, but Jeremiah 50, rather. Okay? This is all good, but when it talks about the hammer of the whole earth, that's America, Babylon the Great. Okay? But I wanted to read you this. I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon. America, Babylon the Great, is trapped in a snare set by the Most High Yahweh himself, and they don't even know it. And thou was not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against Yahweh. Obadiah. All the men of this is all but about Esau, Edom. Thus saith Adonai Yahweh concerning Edom, the Edomites, so-called white man. Generally speaking, that's how they usually look. Not always, but usually, right? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. You on the edge, and you don't even know you on the edge. The men that were at peace with thee, that's your allies. They have deceived thee. This is what's going on with America, Babylon the Great right now. All right? That the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. Look at the NLT. All your allies will, when it was written, it was will. It's happening now. All America, Babylon the Great's allies are turning on it. They hate her. Okay? They will help to chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you behind her back. All right? The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They're going to get it done. They're going to win. But when they win, they lose too. Because not only America's going down, all of Esau, Edom's going down. And not only is Esau, Edom going down, all the heathen nations are going down. I beheld to the thrones. Excuse me. How many of the thrones? All of them were cast down. They that eat thy bread, those that are in league with you, those that you provide an aid to and help to. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Meaning, back to the NLT, you won't even know about it. You don't know. That's America, Babylon the Great, too blinded by our pride. Okay? Too blinded by pride. Let me see here. I was something else I was going to get, but I'm going to let that go, and I'm going to get this instead. Because they getting ready. Look, like the brother put here. Okay, U.S. Defense Secretary orders urgent meeting of generals. They're preparing for Armageddon, which is the Third World War, which is already going on. They just getting ready to completely come out with it. Okay? Right? And when they do that, what do you think's going to happen? Let me read it to you. Isaiah 3. What do you think's going to happen? Okay? This is one of the ways you know that we're the Israelites, because these curses are all over our women, especially the Southern Kingdom, right? But, even though this is directly at the Southern Kingdom, because the Northern Kingdom wasn't, this is after the split, right? But the Northern Kingdom had these curses, the Northern Kingdom women have these curses on them too, but to a lesser degree, because this is directly, specifically on the Southern Kingdom, okay? But these curses, the daughters of Zion of the Southern Kingdom, listen, they're all over the daughters of Zion of the Southern Kingdom. I mean, it's undeniable, right? So this is one of the ways you know that we're the sons of God and the daughters of Zion, because our women are the only women that have these curses on them like this, okay? But right after that, see that 24, right? And right after that, thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war, and her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. Okay? The men of the city will be killed with the sword, and her warriors will die in battle. Let's back that up with an even stronger precept going into that. 2nd Ezra 16. And we're probably going to wrap on this. Maybe. And like 30. This is all going into this, man. Whew. Okay? This is going into how, as I oftentimes say, our Father Yahweh is getting ready to kill off almost everybody on planet Earth. This is the time of the second death. How is it going to be worthy of being referred to as a death without a whole hell of a lot of death? If there's not a whole hell of a lot of death, then you capping calling it a death. No, our Father Yahweh, he ain't capping, man. This is the second death. And he's getting ready to bring, and it's already started, a whole hell of a lot of death. He's getting ready to kill off he's getting ready to give this whole world as a ransom in exchange for his elect. Okay? And there are going to be very, very few men left alive on the planet. More than 8, though. Okay? You know, ranging somewhere from some tens of thousands on the low end up to maybe 10, 20 million on the high end. And that's on the high end. Okay? Somewhere in there, I would put it. I lean towards the lower end, maybe somewhere in the hundreds of thousands. Maybe somewhere. That's what I think. Maybe a million or two, I think. Maybe those first numbers, that's the range. But I think it'll most likely be somewhere in the hundreds of thousands to maybe a million or two. I think that's kind of like the most likely spot it's going to fall in. Okay? When you tally up the number of people that are left alive on the planet. But, you know, we don't have an exact number. But you read precepts like this. Verse 24. Just to make that point, and then we're going to get down to what I came for. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. You really got to start up higher. Okay? Okay, let's get 23. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. Why not? They're all dead. For the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. There shall be no man left to till the earth. Why not? They're all dead. Like I said, a few survivors. And to sow it, the tree, think of I Am Legend. Okay, that movie gives you a real good visual of this. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? Nobody's left alive to eat the fruit on the trees, just falls to the ground and rots. The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For how many again? All places on the planet shall be desolate of men. See? So that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. And it just goes on and on and on. Let's get down to the point so I can wrap this up. Verse 33. The virgins shall mourn the young women of marriageable age. Okay? The young women of marriageable age. Okay? The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms, meaning no men to marry. This is leading up to it. This is, because they're going to be getting killed too, before it's all said and done. But this is leading up to it because this is the time of the great death. The great death doesn't just come in one fell swoop. It begins and builds, and then it continues to build, and then it culminates in the thermonuclear destruction, along with a great, massive, worldwide earthquake. Thus saith the scriptures. You people don't understand, man. Okay? Okay, when the scriptures talks about a great earthquake, by great, I know, you're going to be like, well, how am I supposed to do it? Okay, well, that's what you got teachers for. By great, it means worldwide. Okay? Like a 10.0 all around the world. Oh, man, how we going? No, you can't. It's going to be beyond the capacity of the Richter scale to measure. The Richter scale is not designed or scale. It's going to be way beyond what the Richter scale can measure. The whole topography of the earth is going to be changed. The earth is going to look completely different when this is all done. Okay? All right. And Isaiah 24 tells you that the earth is going to reel to and fro like a drunkard. Yeah. Okay? Worldwide. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. Okay? Vast majority, I mean, you might as well just say they're all dead. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers, meaning the men. Wow, what happened to them all? In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed. What does that mean? Well, that means D to the R to the aft, draft. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed. They're going to be drafted and sent over to the meat grinder. And their husbands shall perish of famine. So we do got to get one more. Ezekiel 7:15. The sword is without all manner of violence, and the pestilence and the famine within. All of these are controlled. Oh man, you're going to make me get another one. Okay. He that is in the field, meaning the countryside. You know, your preppers out in the country with their plots of land and all that, and their gardens and all that, and whatnot, shall die with the sword. Yeah, marauders are coming. And he that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him. These are all controlled by our Father Yahweh. Okay? Ezekiel, I'm going to show you that, and then I'm done. Ezekiel 14. Okay? You really want to come here and start at 12. Okay? But, for the sake of time, Ezekiel 14 and 21. For thus saith Ha'adon Yahweh, how much more when I, the Heavenly Father's word is directly recorded here, direct quote of our Father Yahweh by Ezekiel the prophet. These are the words of our Father. How much more when I send my sore, grievous, extreme judgments upon Yerushalayim. Right, because he sent them upon us for judgment, for chastisement. Okay? All right? To whom much is given, much is required. And our Father Yahweh, he chastens those whom he loves. And these are his judgments. He has more, but these are his judgments here that he sends for chastisement. Okay? But the point is that these belong to him. If any of these show up, he sent it. Okay, we got to get one more. The sword and the famine and the noisome beast and the pestilence to cut off from it man and beast. If it shows up, if any of these show up, and anything else for that matter, our Father Yahweh sent it. Amos. That's what it means to be completely and totally sovereign and all powerful, by the way. Amos 3 and 6. 7. 6. We might as well get 6 and 7. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city? This is rhetorical because the answer is obvious. And the people not be afraid? No need to answer. Everybody knows. Of course the people are going to be afraid. Shall there be evil in it? So the answer is no. Because you blow a trumpet in the city, the people are going to be afraid. So the answer to the question is no. And when you start up, it's a series of rhetorical questions. And the answer is always no, 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 no. Okay? Because it's setting you up to make a point. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? We're going to answer the rhetorical question. I know you don't need to, but we're going to answer it to make the point. No. Shall there be evil in a city and Yahweh have not done it? The answer is the same as all the other questions. No. Let's turn it around and put it positively. Okay? If there is evil, time, ill, bad, if there are bad times, disaster as the NLT puts it, in a city, our Father Yahweh did it. It doesn't mean he did it himself. He doesn't do it himself. He orders it. And the angels, the sons of God that are in the spiritual realm, carry it out. Sirach 38. Or is it 39? Okay. Surely Ha'adon Yahweh will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. He tells the prophets, his servants, what he's going to do first so that prophets can do their job. If he doesn't tell us first, we can't do our job. He tells us first so that we can do our job. And our job is to say it before it happens. That's literally what it means to prophesy, say before. So he tells us what he's going to do before he does it so that we can prophesy. And then when we prophesy, he brings it to pass. That's his program. Okay? And I told you the angels carried out. And since I couldn't remember the precept exactly, I'm just going to go ahead and touch on like the first verse and I'll show you the rest. I think it's 38 or 39. Might be 39. It is. And there it is. See? And 28. There be spirits, angels, sons of God, that are created for vengeance. They control. Might as well, I'm gonna read it. Which in their fury lay on sore strokes. Oh man, is it bad? In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Who made them? Their Father, the Most High, the Creator of all things. Okay, and again, he only personally made one thing or one entity, and that's Yahushua. But he gets the credit. He's the ultimate creator because it all comes from him. And it was at his command and in accordance with his instructions. Everything was made exactly the way he said to make it. So he's the ultimate creator. Even though he only personally, directly himself made one thing, entity, okay, or spirit, which is Yahushai. Fire, created by these, not created, fire, controlled by these spirits. Hail, controlled by these spirits. Famine, controlled by the spirits. And death, all manner of death, controlled by the spirits. All these were created. There be spirits created for vengeance. For vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts, more. And scorpions, serpents, and the sword, all created for vengeance and controlled by the angels, the sons of God, in the spiritual realm, punishing the wicked to destruction. And the angels are going to make sure it goes on as long as the Father said, and it says soar as the Father said. It's not going to be any worse. It's not going to be any lighter. It's not going to be any heavier. It's not going to be exactly the way the Father said it, and it's going to get exactly who the Father said to get. That's why sometimes it'll be strange, but like, man, it happened to this person, and to skip that person, then they got this person, and they got the next 10, but then they skip this one, because that's all set up by the Father. The angels are here making sure that it gets who the Father said to get, and it either injures them exactly like he said, or it takes them out. Okay? The Heavenly Father is controlling all of this, every single minute detail. And the angels are carrying it out with joy, with joy and glee and delight. Okay? They shall rejoice in his, I told you, joy, glee, and delight. They shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth, chomping at the bit. When need is, and when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. They never disobey the Father. See? This is not a joke. This is not a game. This is why you have to fear the Most High Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua. Okay? This is not a joke. This is not a game. This is not for entertainment. Major biblical end-time prophecies are being fulfilled right now. Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Believe this gospel of the kingdom. Call on the names of Yahweh and Yahushai, or more specifically, call on the name of Yahweh in the name of Yahushai, because he is the way, truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by him. Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Believe this gospel of the kingdom, all right? And then bring forth fruits, meet for repentance. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Before I do, want to give all glory and praises to Yahweh, B'Hashem, Yahweh Shabbat, V'Chakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, respect to the brothers teaching, pushing the truth out the four corners of the earth. Adawan Radazad, that's what's edifying and encouraging to you, Achim, and any Achwaf that may be listening and or watching. Ayashmi Akwana, Azanyim La Shemai Shemai. Let him who has ears to hear. Kwam Yasharala, Baba Kusha, Abad Babal Etha, we'll call Adawam. Shalom Lahabachayim, Shalom.